How's it going, guys? I wanted to do some testing today a little bit on. I've been wanting to do this for a while and I've just been too busy, but over this last winter there was a lot of comparisons between the veteran broadheads and the Zeus. I'm going to do a few tests of basically right out of the package, sharpness of blades, comparing the two. I'm also going to shoot. I wanted to shoot through a roadkill deer carcass, but this time of year it's super hot. Couldn't find anything fresh enough, and I just wanted to get some of these tests going here. So the next best thing is I am going to take a watermelon, and I do taxidermy in the winters, and I have a deer cape. So I'm going to wrap that so it'll have an entry and exit going through a deer hide into the watermelon, and then hopefully I can do a cross section cut out of the watermelon afterwards and see if I can see what the blades were doing as they're going through the middle as well as entering and exiting. I might also shoot through some plywood, maybe deflection tests / durability, and we'll go from there. I just figured I would show this as well because I know people always question everything. I have no motives. I have no favorites. These are completely sealed, brand new out of the package. This is brand new out of the package from Zeus as well. I've got a whole box full of 5 or 6 or so here. But I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just like to do tests for my own knowledge, and I like to share some of what I do as well because I notice online there's especially with veterans, there's just not a lot of testing being done on them. I've seen a lot of successful hunts with them, which is a good thing, and I haven't seen a whole lot from Zeus yet other than a few recent tests. So this is more for my own pleasure, my own curiosities. Alright, I got these on the arrows now. I'm going to be shooting the Axis Pro Series, and these arrows are weighing in at about 473 grains. Pretty decent weight. 70-pound bow, 30-inch draw. Roughly 285 feet per second is what I've been getting. But right off the package here, I have shot these before in the past, so I do know a little bit about how these will perform to a degree, but these little tabs here are awesome for putting these on. I do know one thing, these things are razor sharp, which is a plus. So I have a feeling that it'll do pretty good in the test here. I don't know how the Zeus will compare to it. Let's see. Here is the Zeus. 7/8 on the sides of the bleeders and 1.5 inch cut otherwise. And let's see, right out of the package. Cut through that pretty easy. It's kind of hard. This is kind of subjective. It's kind of hard to see. It didn't take much pressure at all, so it seems like it's pretty decent. I've had some broadheads before where you have to fight it quite a bit, and that was pretty decent. Let's see here. Yeah, cut really easy here too. Yeah, I don't know. I would say not necessarily a lot learned there. They both cut pretty easily on those. I've done tests before, like I said, where you gotta kind of push harder than you would imagine with some fixed blades, etc. So both of these seemed pretty good out of the box. I would say that it's fairly even. Again, not the most accurate measurement, but I'm gonna get set up outside, get the watermelon with the deer carcass ready, and we'll try shooting through those and see what things are looking like. This head, by the way, in comparison, since I did mention the Zeus dimensions, this is 1.25 inch closed, so it flies as a fixed head. It can open up almost to about 3 inches, if I believe. I can show you. I can show. Watch out with this. I can show you here. It's this little red collar that you see. It's a retention collar. This is what makes these release. So when that pulls, in theory, that can go all the way out, as you see. So you got a pretty good size cut if that opens up. Now, being that I have used these in the past, I can tell you, I don't mean this in a personal way towards the company or anything. I've had a lot of backlash in the past because of it, but I have yet to see these deploy on anything I've shot, so that's one thing I'm trying to see today. They said that they've made some changes in the past. Now I got a brand new pack, as you saw, as I opened today. So hopefully we get some deployment. My last test that I did, I shot through pumpkins. I shot through 3D foam deer targets that are very dense and thick that should have triggered this collar, but didn't. Literally the only way I've ever seen one of these deploy so far was shooting it into the dirt, which I know most people wouldn't do that and waste a good head, but I like to see how a head performs and if it will perform. And there's a lot of good things about this head. It's durable blades, solid tip on there. But the advertisement of this head is that it has a large cutting diameter, and that's one reason why I want to compare this head against the Zeus as well, because if you compare the difference, you would think that this would offer a bigger cut, but in reality, since I've never seen this deploy, there are a lot more similarities and perks than one might realize. So hopefully we'll get some deployment out of that today, and maybe we'll get a different view of these. I like the concept a lot, but we'll give it a shot, see what happens. So as you can see here, here's our watermelon. Here's our deer skin. This is a tanned cape, but it's still a fairly thick, heavy cape. Like I said, I was thinking about getting a real carcass. I've heard the excuses before of how we design our head to shoot animals, not to shoot through pumpkins, or not to shoot through watermelons, or not to shoot through this. Well, it's kind of hard to do tests, on anything prior to hunting if you don't try it on some of these things. I know some people have a hard time seeing people are shooting through a dead carcass, even if it is just roadkill. So I figured this was the next best thing. So I'm going to get this thing all wrapped up. I'm going to strap it down on a stand. I'll get it outside and we'll get shooting in just a little bit. My goal is to shoot the Zeus through one side, the veteran on the other, and then do a cut down the middle and see if we can see what happened on the inside. The other thing I thought was nicer about this way of doing it instead of shooting through an actual carcass is this should give more even results, measurable results, versus if you hit through ribs on one broadhead on a deer and not the other, you get some kind of unfair variables that can come up. So anyway, I'm going to get this thing loaded up and we'll go from there. Alright, here we're all set up. I'm going to start with the Zeus here and go back. I'll be shooting at a distance of about 18 yards. That just happens to line up good with my backdrop and such. I'm assuming these will blow through, and if they do, hopefully I have something to hit them and stop it. So I'll start with this. I'll go back. Alright, well, definitely blew through. Let's see if I can zoom this out a little bit. Definitely blew through. Hopefully I can find the arrow. Let's see here. You can see the 7 1/8 cut and the other cut. Spreading apart the skin a little bit so you can see kind of what happened. So pretty decent entry here. Let's look at the back here. In the back, wow, this is cool. I don't know if you can see this good. Pretty good chunk, and it looks like the full size blade from what I can tell here. I'll take the cape off and look at this better too and show you, but so far decent job by the by the Zeus. Let's see if I can find it quick here, and then I'll see what it looks like. Granted, I have no idea what it hit after it flew out of here. Well, here's the target's right here. Somehow it deflected over. But I found it down here. Let's see here. Head's a little loose on the threads, but overall condition looks perfect, which I would hope it would. It's not really that hard of a thing to go through. So it passed the test so far. I like what I saw there. I'm not quite sure I like how the if I end up hunting with these, I think the one thing that I noticed that I would change myself, these heavy duty tips here, they're nice, but they twist on and off. So I would definitely at least put some Loctite on those. That's just my preference, which is no biggie. So okay, well, I'm gonna set up and do the same thing with the Veteran and see what I get, and again afterwards we can measure the wound channel, see if it deploys and all that good stuff. So I will set for the Veteran next. Okay, looks like we're on. Just like before, I am going to go with the Veteran this time. 1 1/4 inch fixed cut, can expand up to close to 3 inches. That collar, the retention collar is on there pretty strong. It's impossible to shoot through something, have the blades open, and then close themselves back up. I've tested them enough already to know that this is absolutely impossible. So if it's closed when we find it, it means it did not deploy. Hopefully it'll deploy, but let's go. Let's see how it goes. Alright, well, the arrows seem to like going in that spot. Went in the same spot as before. Let's see here. Wow, holy cow. Looks like I got my first deployment from a Veteran. So we got a big hole on there. That's exciting to see, because I don't know what's going on here. I got splits going in weird places here. Wow. Well, I'm glad to see that, because I have never seen it deploy before. So that's good news. Hopefully they did make some improvements here. Now let's go to the back side here. And the back side, the slit is much smaller. Sorry, it's hard to keep steady on this thing. It's a lot smaller exit, which tells me that the spring going through the cape, or the end of the shell of the watermelon and the cape, compressed the blades down a little bit narrower. So we got kind of a slap cut on the entry and a smaller exit wound. It'll be interesting to see what's going on the inside, because the inside is obviously fairly soft, kind of like intestines and such, which so I thought this might be a good test. I gotta see if I can find that head, that arrow. It looks like I went somewhere down near the same spot here. Alright, well, finally found it. Flew through the brush where the other arrow was in. And let's see, why can't we zoom in on that? Where is it? There we go. So it's stuck in the dirt in here. And as we already knew, it deployed. See, that's what it looks like when it deploys. There's no way you can find it closed and say that it had opened at any point, because it won't happen. But that was good to see. I might have to charge this camera up before doing some more tests on here. Like I said, I'd like to do a deflection test, some other stuff. So far, both of them did well. It'll be interesting to see. One of my biggest concerns with that Zeus, originally when I saw the concept, was that the spring wouldn't be strong enough. It might collapse sooner than it should. Which scares me, because unless it's hitting bone, I don't want it collapsing. So once I found out it was like I can't recall, 53 or 54 pound spring, I believe it was. And I felt the spring with my hands. It felt pretty good, so I liked what I saw there. So with the Zeus, you know, it is what it is. You're gonna get that that 1.5 by 7/8 cut. You know, if you open it up, you got almost like a golf ball, I'd say. This obviously had a huge hole, which surprised the heck out of me, and that's what I've been wanting to see out of it. That's what I wanted to see the first time I tested these things. I just noticed one thing, a little concerned here before putting this away to charge. I don't know if you can see good here or if I need to change my lighting this way. Here we go. I don't know what this hit after it flew through the target. The blades look pretty good. Everything looks pretty good. It was just dug in the dirt, but the retention guard snapped in half and there's like a 1/4 inch gap out of that. So that's definitely a little concerning. The rest of the head looks fine, looks reusable, but obviously for further testing and stuff, I'll have to use a different head, which means I'll use a different Zeus too, just to keep things even and fair with a new start. But that's a little bummer. I mean, it went through the brush just like the other one. I didn't hear anything hard. I'll have to listen back and see if there's anything noticeable. It seems odd to me that would break that easy. But anyway, happy with how it cut though. So to me, I'm not worried about the reuse of a broadhead. If it gets me a deer, personally, the deer is valuable, not just in the experience but the food and everything else. Losing a broadhead is not a big deal as long as the broadhead does the job it's supposed to do. We're back at it here. Here's the entry for the Zeus and for the Veteran. I'm gonna take off these straps, take out the watermelon, get a better look at that, plus the cape from the exit side as well. Open like this. I'm gonna be really interested in possibly trying this once again down the road. Just to see, because I'm excited if they fix that problem with the new springs with Veteran, because that's what you should see. You know, if you advertise the big cut, you want to see it. So there's the entry. Let's first pull this cape out of the way a little bit. I'll rotate this around so we can see the exits. See if are we seeing this? It's hard for me to see what's going on here, guys. Let me turn this a little bit so I can see what's going on. Here we go. All right, so again, this is the wound right here from the Veteran, and if I get a tape measure right here, we're looking at, I mean, granted it's a melon and it can crack and split, so it's hard to say, but I mean, I got over 3 inches. I got almost 3.5 inch split going this way. I don't know why that split happened, just from the pressure, I imagine. On the Zeus, I've got about 2 inches by about 1.25. So some of that might be cracking, some of it's cutting, whatnot. Like I said, the Zeus, you get what you get. It's basically a fixed head unless you hit something pretty hard. So I was happy to see that it stayed open there. Roll it right over, you're gonna get the same thing. This is actually the Zeus exit, and it's absolutely huge for whatever reason. I mean, it's almost 3 inches by 3 inches, and obviously that's not the head, because the head can't cut that big. So the force blew it and cracked further than it should, but I'm glad to see a big hole, not a little one. The Veteran exit is pretty small. That's closer to looking to the 1.25 right here. And then again, here's a crack that I can't explain going that way. So what that tells me is the, as it went through, I don't want to cut myself, but the pressure with the springs closed it down like this on the exit, and you only got that 1.25 cut. So let's look at the cape once again. So here we go. Here's the entry on the cape of the Zeus. Like I said, you almost get like a rounder hole, because you get the 7/8 going that way and the 1.5 the other way. That's a respectable hole. This is obviously huge. That's what most people think of when they think of mechanicals. Zeus isn't necessarily what I would consider mechanical, so to be fair. So when we look at the exits, the exit is about identical on, I'm sorry if I'm not getting the best filming here, it's hard to do by myself here, but the exit on the Zeus looks as it did on the entry. So again, you get what you get, and you know it. Again, and here's the exit for the Veteran. I don't know if you can see that, but there's your 1 1/4. Let's see. Well, let's see what I got for a measurement here. Try to pinch this and give it as much as I can get out of it. So the cape I got about 1 3/4. So it wasn't completely closed down to 1 1/4. So that's respectable. 1 3/4 is a pretty good size too. Obviously, when you're comparing it to the cape here, let me measure this side once just to see what the cape says here for the slap cut of the Veteran. I got 4 inches of a slap cut on the entry. And here we'll cut down. I think I'm just going to go right through the middle. And I want to see what happened here. Oh, this looks tasty. Wish I could be eating this right now. Wow, okay, this is kind of cool. So here's the Zeus. It's quite a hole it's putting in here. I mean, both of them have a pretty decent hole in here. One thing I can see, the Zeus again has about the natural 1.5 by 7/8 hole that I've been seeing everywhere else. It'd be neat to put this through a ballistic gel because you'd probably see that same channel just going all the way through. And it's this one here has a pretty good hole too from the Veteran, but you can see. Let me see if I can get closer here. You can see the slit coming down here and here. If I measure that. There's your 1 3/4 that I saw coming out of the cape. So to me that's good and bad. A watermelon's pretty stinking soft. I mean, you can take your finger and just push right in. I mean, there's nothing to it. So again, I have no sides here. I'm just trying to see real results that I get. I urge everybody to shoot their own, do their own tests. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just like to feel like I have the best head possible in the field. If that head is closing on a watermelon, on the inside of a watermelon, as soft as that is, it's not going to probably stay open. Most likely, the majority of your cuts are going to be that 1 1/4 inch, which it's not terrible. You can kill stuff with it. I'm not trying to say that. You make your own call, but I like the fact that Zeus did not close down at all. Going through something, that was my concern, is that it would close through something softer. So far it's passed that test. So I think I'll try shooting through some plywood, some other tests, and see if I can get that Zeus to close down and see what the damage looks like. Just want to show you first. So this is some pretty thick stuff. I've shot heads in this before, didn't end too well. This is basically a 1 inch board. Pretty thick. The last time I shot it was right there with a Veteran, and it pretty much destroyed the crap and broke out of both blades off of it. Didn't hold up very good. That was a couple years ago. It'll be interesting to see how the new ones do and how the Zeus does. Okay, I'm ready to go here. I've got a brand new Zeus attached here. I'm using a brand new Veteran again as well to keep things fair. I'm not expecting this to go very well. I would not be surprised if I break a few of my nocks. And possibly aerials. We'll see how things go. Well, that's the best penetration I've ever gotten out of the heads I've tested so far on this board. I have not used fixed heads on this board yet. That's buried right up to the fleshings, as you can see. I'm going to bring this up and take a better look. Okay, so as you can see, I'm buried up to the fletchings. Probably won't be able to shoot that again without fixing some stuff on there. And coming around to the back side, here is the Zeus coming out of there. I'll look a little closer in the front. I'm sure there's not going to be much cut because it would have compressed. This thing looks like it's in good shape. I'm going to twist this off here. My only doubt or thought on this, because I've seen some tests online, would be that, let me get this set up for a second. I've seen some tests online where after shooting something hard that the spring gets some damage to it. This tip, as you can see, came loose a little bit. That's why I would Loctite that if it was my main thing. It feels like there's probably definitely more play. You know, this spring wasn't doing this before, so there's a little more play here. So this probably isn't quite sticking out the 1.5 anymore. It's a little less. But the blades look incredible. Everything looks in mint shape. And I do know there's replacement kits now, it sounds like, where you can put a new spring in there and it should be good to go again. But that's pretty impressive for blowing through that. Like I said, we'll try it in a minute with the Veteran. All right, I am all set up with the brand new Veteran. I'm gonna give it a shot, the same exact thing here, and see how it compares to the Zeus. Alright. Well, I got it to go through that time. Let's see what condition it's in. So I aim to lower, of course, so I don't disrupt the other hole. Decent sized hole going in. And I can see the arrow. Yeah. So let's see. Looks like it fared pretty good. Looks like it fared really good on that. A lot better than the last experiment. So overall, that's a plus to see that. Looks like this could pretty much be closed back up and reused. So my only concern with this, like I said, would be that I wish that those blades would stay open a little easier. If you know, it's kind of like the Zeus. You know, if it hits bone, then you want it to go in, but you don't want it closing down, passing through the whole animal after it opens initially. So the Zeus, all around, I'm very impressed with that. Both of them is good heads. To me, I hate to just pick one, but I still feel a little bit not confident with this Veteran as far as what it's doing while it's in the inside of the animal. I might do some more testing with it just to see if I can get more of an average of what's happening. But I guarantee you can kill with these. You know, they've been killing with those old Zwickies and all those, like I mentioned earlier, for many years, so it'll work. But if you want a bigger cut, this will get you a good entry from what it looks like now. That's a plus. So, all right, well, I'll wrap it up for now.